Hey, what is going on, guys? Pro Ninja 2612 here, and today I have got a £650 PC build for you. The 450 PC build was got quite a few views, so I decided that I'm probably going to make it as a regular thing to make these. So yeah, let's get underway. So the CPU we're using for this PC is the AMD FX 8350. Now the 8350 is an 8-core processor clocked at 4 gigahertz, which is pretty beast. Next we have the Cooler Master TX3 Evo CPU cooler. Now the total build comes to 654 and the CPU cooler is £15, so if you don't want the CPU cooler, which you might not need, but it is better just in case for playing games and stuff, and just so your CPU doesn't get too hot. But assuming that you don't do anything too heavy, you shouldn't really need an aftermarket CPU cooler, but it's there if you need it. So the motherboard is the Gigabyte GA970A UD3P ATX AM30 Plus motherboard. Now it's a really good motherboard, and I've added the option, if you ever fancy doing it in the future, that you can run Crossfire. It's a really nice motherboard, supports up to 32 gig of RAM, and yeah, that's pretty much all. And also it has it has 10 USB ports on the back and the full HD audio, 2 USB 3 and 8 USB 2. Yeah, so pretty beast motherboard, and it's quite cheap as well. The RAM, I went for 1 stick of RAM, and it may be cheap. Well, it's a little bit cheaper than the rest of the RAM, but it doesn't mean it won't do the job. The RAM we're using is the Crucial Ballistic Sport 8GB, 1 8GB stick, a DDR3 1600 MHz memory. RAM is pretty much just RAM. If you ever see the RAM that doesn't have any plastic casing on it, don't think it's cheap memory. It's just memory. The only reason it's cheaper is it might have a slightly lower clock speed, but all it really is lacking is the plastic cover, and the plastic cover is really just aesthetic. So the hard drive, I decided that since we had a bigger budget to play with, I was going to give more like memory wise, so we're using a Seagate Barracuda 2TB hard drive, and it's 7200 RPM, so it's pretty fast. It's a pretty fast hard drive, and it should do the job. Next we have the graphics card. Now this is a very good graphics card for the money, and it slides into your budget perfect. It's the Gigabyte GeForce. It's the GTX 760 graphics card, 2 gig. It has a core clock speed of 1.8 gigahertz, 1.08 gigahertz, and it is just a beast graphics card. Pretty big. It has 3 fans on it, but again, that does mean you can add, you can just clock it quite high if you want to, just for an extra bit of boot performance. But with an 8350 and a 760, you can't go wrong. So moving on now to the case, we're using the Corsair 300R. Now I kind of seen this case and I thought, well, I have this case, and it's a really good, nice case for PC builds of pretty much all spec. So yeah, I decided it would fit nicely into this build, and yeah, it's just a really nice case. It's black and it's an 88X tower, and yeah, there's nothing really you can say about it. I have just lost the build. Where is it? Here we go. Okay, so the two last parts we've got is the PSU, and I'm using the Corsair CX600M power supply. Now, I think in the last build we used no, I don't think we did. Well, anyway, forget that. The CX600M is a 80 plus bronze semi-modular power supply, 600 watts, so it'll do the job. And yeah, it's a really nice PSU, and it's got some really nice braided cables, so it'll look nice. And if you're doing cable management, it is quite good cables for slotting in the back of the the other side of the case. So the last thing is the disk drive, and I've just went for a Samsung SH22 4D, just a Samsung DVD drive. It's one that'll do the job. There's not really much you can say about them, apart from it's a cheap, reliable optical drive, and it'll get the job done. And I wouldn't say you wouldn't need that you're never gonna need a optical drive. It's better to have it and not need it than need it and not have it, pretty much. And that slots the build quite nicely. So one of the things I'm going to do now is I'm going to put the link to the build. The build is on PC Part Picker, and it shows you where to get all the cheapest, all your hardware cheapest. So I'll put the link in the description below. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Please like, subscribe, follow me on Twitter at ProNinja2612. Peace.